So first I started off by drawing a circle onto the sponge, and by the way, you do not have to make yours a mini version. You can of course make yours whatever size you want. And I just used a lid from this slime container and I just drew around it using a pen. I did mess up slightly, but that's okay. And next we want to start cutting this out. So here is what the shape looks like so far, and as you can see I did end up cutting off a little bit of the sponge since it was a little bit too thick at first. And I already finished smoothing off the bottom part of the cheesecake, so you just want to make really small cuts all the way around it, like so. And just neaten up the edges, just really carefully. And just make it as neat as possible. And then what you want to do is you want to start rounding off the top part. So again, just take your scissors and you want to make some curved cuts like this. Just all the way around. And again, just neaten it up with your scissors until it forms kind of like a rounded cake shape or a bun shape. So I'm just going to finish this and then I'll be right back. So here's what it looks like once I've finished smoothing off the top part of the cheesecake. So again, I just made curved cuts all the way around it using my scissors. And then I just made really small snips just to smooth it off, as you can see. And I think the shape looks pretty good. And then once you've done that, we can finally start painting it. Next, what I did was I mixed some white and a tiny bit of yellow paint together, and I painted the bottom of the cheesecake and also around the cheesecake as well. And then what I did was I mixed yellow and a little bit of white and burnt sienna paint together, and I painted the top part of the cheesecake, and I also painted around the edges of the cheesecake, I guess, and then I just blended it slightly using a paintbrush. And I'm just using these two images here as reference. And I know the colours didn't come out exactly accurate to the real one, but I'm still pretty happy with it. So now you want to let this dry, and then once it's dry we can move on to the next step. So once the squishy is dry we can finally start making the packaging. So what I did was I just found an image of a yellowish, like orange background, and I just placed it onto a Word document, as you can see. And then what you want to do is you want to find an image of a doily, at least I think that's how you pronounce it, and then you just want to place it in the centre of the square like this. And again, you can make the packaging as big or as small as you want, depending on the size that you've made the squishy. And then what you want to do is you want to print this out like this, so it should look something like this. And then what I did was I just glued it onto a piece of card, so that way it would be a little bit more sturdy. And then you just want to colour the edges of the background or the packaging just using a black marker. And I also used a ruler to do this, so that way I could make really straight lines. And yeah, you just want to make sure that it's big enough so that your squishy can go on top of it. So hopefully that will make sense. And then once you've done that, we can move on to the next step. So next what I did was I took one of these clear plastic leaflets and I just cut out a square shape that was big enough to fit the squishy, and I just used a ruler and a craft knife to do this. So again, you can make yours any size you want depending on how big you've made your squishy. And then what you want to do is you want to tape up all the openings with clear tape, but obviously you want to leave the top part open. And then what I did was I painted on the details on the packaging using my white puffy paint. Hopefully you can see that. And I also used my black puffy paint to write on the word iBloom. And I know it doesn't look exactly like the real packaging, but I tried my best. And also I did struggle painting on some of the words, so I ended up just painting on some scribbles, as you can see, because I don't think I've been able to paint it that small. And I used a dotting tool to paint on the letters, and I also used this image here as reference. And I think it turned out really good. And then what you want to do is you want to place the background or the thing that we just printed out onto the or into the packaging. And then what you want to do is, well, after you've placed your squishy inside, you just want to take another piece of tape and then just fold down the top part and then secure it with the tape, as you can see. So that way you can still easily open it and take out the squishy. So now lastly what you want to do is you want to place the squishy inside the packaging, and then we will be done. So here is what the final thing looks like. So as you can see, I placed the squishy inside the packaging. Oh, and by the way, one thing I forgot to mention is you can paint on the details on the back of the packaging as well if you want to, but I just decided not to because, again, I didn't think I would be able to paint on such tiny words with puffy paint, so yeah. And I think this turned out pretty good. And I really like how the background of the packaging turned out. And also, I think the letters turned out pretty good as well. So here's what the squishy looks like. And I'm really happy with how it came out. And it is also quite squishy as well, but not as slow rising as the real one, but that's okay. And I think the shape and the colours on it came out really good. And again, here's what the packaging looks like. And again, the packaging is just completely optional. You do not have to make it if you don't want to. So I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and as always, please feel free to request any more squishy tutorials you would like me to do in the comments below. And I really hope you enjoyed it, and thank you so much for watching. Bye bye!